All right, I just wrapped up a 10,000 mile road trip in this thing, went all over the country. I started in Pennsylvania. I started here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, went all the way to Washington, all the way down to San Diego, all the way across the southern states and back up here with a lot of driving in between there. I'm gonna give you a cost breakdown of that whole trip as far as fuel, maintenance, any sort of repairs, and the overall cost of the van as well. So that way, if you're interested in doing something similar, you can get an idea of how much that'll cost you. I have a spreadsheet that I'll pop up on the screen that shows the entire breakdown of every single fill-up that I had across the whole country. And during all of this, I'm gonna empty the van because I had to pick up stuff in storage out in Portland. So this thing is extremely weighed down right now. And I just took a measurement on the back and it is 5 7/8 to the lowest point of the hitch. We'll see how much it raises whenever you take all of the stuff out of this, because this thing is heavy right now. All right, here we go. This is the bird's eye view of the mess. Now I have to put all of this somewhere. Good times, good times. Look at this absolute disaster. Oh boy. All of this was somehow in the minivan. Fridge over there too, power station right there. Yeah, this is gonna be quite a nightmare to deal with. I gotta find places for everything. Emptied the top box out. Really the only thing left in there is the mattress. Let's see what we got. We have 8.5 inches. Really, there's like only 2.5 inches of sag on the back, which is pretty impressive for all this stuff. All right, we got it all cleaned out. Pretty much whole thing is empty. Just have a couple little things with wires for the lights that I still have. I think I might remove everything, which actually is only screwed in from right there and down on the floor. Nothing's actually permanent. I didn't drill holes anywhere. Everything was ran through existing things here. This is actually just sitting in here, so I might just pull it all out. I have a little cargo van for a bit, but right here you can see where I have it clamped down just around the oh shit bar, and then this bolt right down through the floor, that was an existing hole. Those are the only two things I need to remove and everything can come out. A lot of freaking work today getting this thing emptied out. I didn't realize how much I had in there. All right, let's pull up the spreadsheet here. Had a total of 32 fill-ups while I was on the road, one of which was only for $8 because the gas was so expensive I needed to just get to the next place. But for the most part, almost all of them were full fill-ups. And it left me at a total of $1,673.72 for gas for the entire trip. This thing was averaging about 18 to 21 miles per gallon the entire time. So that's really not terrible, especially for how much weight I had in this thing. I had it loaded down so freaking heavily. I also had to repair my rear brake. My rear brakes and rotors, that cost me $178.56. I had an oil change, which came out to about $70. I had a speeding ticket in Arizona. That cost me $164. And when my tire exploded, if you saw that video, you know what I'm talking about. That one cost me a whopping $425, which put me at a grand total in expenses, $2,511.28. That doesn't include any food or any restaurants, any drinks, anything like that. That's all separate. I didn't even want to include that because it was too sporadic and chaotic. But for the most part, I was buying groceries and eating pretty inexpensively. And depending on how you eat, if you go out to eat all the time or if you cook, you can kind of get a rough number on that. But overall, $2,500 for 6 total weeks and almost 10,000 miles in this thing. It's really not that bad. It ended up being a little closer to 8,500 miles. I had to cut the trip short and just start bombing it home for numerous reasons. Reason number one is I was getting kind of irritated being in this thing. I was just starting to want to just get back and unload it. Everything was getting so unorganized and it was just driving me a little bit crazy, but I think I spoiled myself by being in a big school bus, in a big ambulance, and then going down to something this size. 6 weeks in this thing, that was enough for me. I'm still gonna be doing trips in this, but for right now, I have some other plans that you can't know just yet. but coming very, very shortly, you will know on this channel. Overall, I do not regret the trip at all. This was an amazing time. I feel like $2,500 is pretty reasonable for how far I drove. Normally, I would have never driven that amount of distance in that short of amount of time. I would have normally spread that out over months and months and months, a lot longer than 6 weeks. 6 weeks was tough for that. So normally that same amount of fuel, $2,500 and expenses, that normally would have been drug out over such a longer period, which makes it a lot more reasonable. But I was just rushing around trying to do this in 6 weeks to 2 months and visit as many friends as I possibly could in a short amount of time. And the minivan did a freaking great job at that. Other than the space in the minivan, I have really not many complaints. Being crammed in that tight of a space for 6 weeks, for me, it's tough, but I loved driving it. And if you guys are interested in taking a road trip, even if it's just for a few days, or if you've taken a month off and you want to go travel around in whatever vehicle you have, I hope this helps give you a breakdown of like a realistic cost. But I think now it might be time to pull this stuff. Actually, no. So when my friend backed into my van in New Mexico, this all got out of whack. I think it bent this piece too, because that does not look correct right there. And there's like a crack in it now. Luckily the headlight didn't break, but this whole front bumper needs to be replaced, as well as the plastic housing that goes all around this. And I believe this piece is gonna have to get replaced. And her insurance is covering it, thank goodness. So tomorrow morning at 8:30, I have to go drop this off at an auto body shop. They're gonna do an estimate or whatever, and I think they're gonna give me a rental vehicle. So the minivan is gonna be going away for hopefully only a few days, but you never know with these companies. Might be gone for a while, and I'm curious to see what type of rental car they're gonna give me. Probably not anything very nice, but I'm gonna continue cleaning this thing a little bit and then drop it off tomorrow morning first thing and hop in my rental. All right, 2 weeks later, and the minivan is back. It's all fixed up and good to go, but I made a purchase. Check it out. I was gonna put all of my stuff in a storage unit, and storage units were so freaking expensive that it literally made more sense for me to just buy it's almost new. It's like a 2020 or something, but I got it off Facebook Marketplace, and I made this my own storage unit. So let me show you what we got. Boom. So, organized everything. I built it out a little bit. Kind of reminded me of building out the minivan and the school bus and the ambulance, but put some lights in here. I put my power station in. You turn that on, and then we got lights. I bought a big toolbox because all my tools have just been in shambles for years. So now I actually have everything organized and got all my stuff in one place. This shelf was already in it, so I kind of just utilized this, threw a power station in, got all my stuff hanging up, got the YouTube plaque, aiming for the 1 million one. I'm hoping to get that at some point. Finally able to organize all my stuff, because it's all just been a little bit in my ambulance, a little bit in my parents' garage, a little bit in the basement, and I just never know where any of my stuff is, and it's just been like stressful trying to find anything that I've been missing for a long time. So now I got every single thing that I own packed into this trailer. And I did a little trip in the rental car, the little Toyota Corolla that I had for 2 weeks while my minivan was gone. I took that down to West Virginia to make a purchase, and the thing that I purchased you will see in either the next video or the one after that. And it's gonna be what I will be living in for the foreseeable future. I can't talk. For the foreseeable future. Minivan trip is done, and I'm moving into a new thing that you will see here very, very shortly. If you follow me on Instagram, you already know. And if you're a member of the channel, you already know. But thank you guys for supporting this channel. I have some really big plans coming up. I've got some really exciting opportunities with some big companies, and you'll be seeing that stuff soon. For now, I gotta get back and get to working on my new purchase that you'll see soon.